go over now to River State. We've got our correspondent, Emmanuel Ire, to give us an update on what's happening where he is. Emmanuel.
As the day begins in Port Harcourt in the eve of the elections, the tension is palpable as the army and other security agencies barricade one lane of the road leading to the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in the River State capital, screening access to the premises as the electoral body seems poised to conduct the polls tomorrow. But now, it's not just INEC that is the only body that may be in the eye of the storm, as accusations and counter-accusations between the two major political parties in the state over some form of security or the use of the army in the elections continue to rend the air. While one party is calling for what they describe as heavy militarization of the state to give confidence to the voters, the ruling party in the state is raising alarm over what they describe as indiscriminate arrests of their members, especially the council chairman, and they have also vowed to resist the arrests. And that in itself is a recipe for some form of crisis, as INEC looks to conduct credible polls tomorrow. The voters, the observers, journalists, and indeed residents look to the security agencies to keep them safe. Back to you guys.
All right, and thank you, Emmanuel. Well, let's get to our guest in the studio. We have a new panel of guests here with us. We've got Ide Egwabo here in Lagos, journalist, also observing the elections. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we also have Chima Amadi, who is of the Center for Transparency and Advocacy. He joins us from our studios in Abuja. And right beside him is Udo Ilo, who is head of office of Osiwa, Nigeria, also in Abuja. Gentlemen, thank you also for joining us here today. Well, speaking about the preparations for this election, INEC has spoken a lot, and also they say they're doing so many things to ensure that we are ready. Mr. God, but let me ask you, having moved from last week up until today, the election eve, how optimistic or otherwise are you ahead of tomorrow?
I am very optimistic. First, you remember I recalled that this was INEC's first national elections. And the APC government, too, must remind itself that this is the first national elections that it is involved in. And therefore, if PDP tried to do it for 16 years and came up with a final verdict of fair in the conduct of national elections, fair in the sense that the 2015 elections were regarded as free, fair, and acceptable, more to the extent that the defeated president, the incumbent president, considered defeat. We didn't have to go into the real process, the conduct of, we didn't ask any questions once the incumbent president considered defeat. 2011, before that, as you know, Yaradua himself had owned up to the fact that the process was not too clean and that he was going to make deliberate efforts to clean up the system and make it better, which was why the Waste Committee was set up. And so for me, the heightened tension is because of the politicians. INEC has done, in my estimation, a fairly good job. The only problem is having never conducted national elections and with the stigma of inconclusive elections still hanging around them in several of the states where they have conducted elections. Let us see if they have learned from that. But I am optimistic that the level of consciousness in the voter today is higher or at its highest than ever before. And to that extent, we are not likely to see as much interruptions or disturbances as is generally believed tomorrow.
All right.
That's my take.
Let me ask Mr. Jude on this one. I mean, last time out, you weren't exactly pleased with INEC. You woke up to that disappointment. But having looked at the proceedings from then up until now, how are you feeling now?
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, last time we were really, very disappointed by the postponement of the election. And following that postponement, a number of recommendations were made to INEC, one of which was the need to transparently and honestly engage Nigerians on their preparation, their challenges, and the plans being put in place to ensure that the elections go off smoothly tomorrow. And they followed up on those recommendations. There have been daily briefings where they give day-to-day updates of what has been done, the improvements in the system, the level of distribution of materials and all of that. And I think that step taken by INEC is quite reassuring. It made it possible for people to ask questions openly. And given the information they've provided, I am optimistic that tomorrow we go on smoothly. And also, I feel that the anger and the disappointment, the heat of the pushback to INEC on the postponement of election must have also put them on their toes. My feeling is that INEC realized from that incident how important and how fundamental this election is to the stability and the well-being of this country. And I would assume that they've taken steps to ensure that they can't disappoint Nigerians again on the election. So I'm quite optimistic. Somehow we've been afforded one extra week to get ready properly. And I look forward to an exciting voting atmosphere tomorrow.